Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We've had a lot of questions about this one, so today we're going to really dive deep into the effects of rosemary essential oil on the brain.
Oh, yeah. It's a fascinating topic.
Oh, for sure. And I know a lot of our listeners are probably thinking, okay, rosemary, I use it for cooking, but what does it have to do with my brain?
Right. Exactly.
Oh, hopefully by the end of this deep dive, everyone's going to know a whole lot more than they did before.
Yeah.
So let's start with the prefrontal cortex.
Okay.
Now, this is the brain's command center, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's responsible for all of our higher level cognitive functions.
Right, like planning,
Yeah.
decision-making, emotional control.
Yeah, all the stuff that makes us human.
Yeah, and even personality.
Absolutely. So it's really like the CEO of your brain, as you were saying.
Okay, so it's a pretty important part of our brains to keep healthy.
For sure. A healthy prefrontal cortex is essential for just about everything we do in our lives.
Okay, so how does rosemary oil fit into all of this?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Research suggests that rosemary oil might actually be able to enhance the function of the prefrontal cortex.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
So we're saying that something as simple as rosemary oil could potentially make me a better planner,
Potentially,
a more, emotionally balanced person.
that's the idea.
Okay, I am intrigued. Lay it on me.
All right, so there are these specific compounds in rosemary oil, like 1,4,8-cineol and alpha-pine.
Okay.
And these compounds seem to have a direct effect on the prefrontal cortex.
Okay, those are some pretty complicated names.
So
though.
they are, but they're basically like tiny keys
Okay.
that fit into specific locks in your brain.
Oh, interesting.
So when you inhale rosemary oil, these compounds travel through your nose up to the brain, and they interact with neurotransmitters like acetylcholine and dopamine.
Okay, and for anyone who's not familiar with neurotransmitters, what exactly are those?
So neurotransmitters are basically the brain's chemical messengers. They're responsible for communication between brain cells. And those two in particular, acetylcholine and dopamine, are really important for memory, focus, and motivation.
Okay, so it's like they're giving a boost to those messengers then.
Right. It's like providing them with a faster delivery system.
Okay, so what kind of benefits are we talking about here? I know people have said rosemary oil can improve memory.
Yeah, that's right.
Can it really do that?
Well, studies have actually shown that it can enhance memory recall, especially in older adults.
Really?
Yeah, in one study, participants who inhaled rosemary oil were actually able to remember information more accurately and quickly than those who didn't.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So like if I diffuse rosemary oil in my home office, I might actually be able to remember all those meeting notes.
It's certainly a possibility, and it's not just memory. Rosemary oil can also help with focus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there have been studies that have shown that it can improve performance on tasks that require sustained attention.
So are we saying rosemary oil is like that extra cup of coffee I rely on in the mornings?
Well, they work in different ways, but the goal is similar, right?
Right.
To enhance alertness and cognitive performance.
Yeah.
And rosemary oil seems to do this by boosting those key neurotransmitters we talked about, and also by improving blood flow to the brain.
Okay. Why is blood flow so important?
Well, just like any other organ, your brain needs a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients to function properly.
Right, of course.
And rosemary oil actually helps to dilate blood vessels, which allows for better circulation to the brain.
I see.
So it's kind of like giving your brain a refreshing oxygen boost, which can lead to clearer thinking and faster processing.
That makes sense. Okay, so we've talked about memory, focus. Now, I know there's also been a lot of buzz about rosemary oil and cognitive decline.
Right.
Is there actually any truth to that? Can rosemary oil help protect against something like Alzheimer's?
It's definitely an area of active research,
Right.
and the findings are really promising.
Okay.
So one of the things that makes rosemary oil so interesting is that it's a really powerful antioxidant.
Okay, and what does that mean exactly?
That means it helps to protect your brain cells from damage caused by free radicals.
Okay.
Now, this type of damage is thought to be a major contributor to cognitive decline as we age.
So is it like a secret weapon in the fight against aging?
Well, it's too early to make any definitive claims, but the research suggests that rosemary oil might help to slow down cognitive decline and potentially even reduce the risk of developing neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's.
Okay, so it's not a cure, but it could potentially help.
Exactly. It's all about protecting those brain cells and keeping them functioning at their best.
This is amazing stuff. We've gone from rosemary being this, kitchen staple to a potential brain-boosting powerhouse.
I know, right?
But before we get too carried away and talk about all the cognitive benefits, I know a lot of people are also really interested in rosemary oil's impact on mood and emotional well-being.
Yeah, Absolutely.
So let's talk about that next.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is amazing how just smelling something can like change how you feel.
Yeah. And I know rosemary oil in particular is supposed to be really good for promoting like a sense of calm and well-being.
It is, it is.
But how does that actually work? Is it just that it smells nice, or is there something more going on?
Oh, there's definitely more to it than just the smell.
Okay.
Remember that compound we talked about earlier, alpha pine?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out it's not just good for boosting focus, it also has some pretty remarkable anti-anxiety and antidepressant properties.
So it's like a 2-for-1 deal then. You get focus and a mood boost just from smelling rosemary.
Pretty much, yeah. Alpha pine works by influencing these neurotransmitters, serotonin and GABA, and they're really crucial for regulating mood and how we respond to stress.
It really is a fascinating and versatile oil.
It is, and it just goes to show that there's always more to learn about the natural world.
That is so true. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today and sharing your expertise on this topic. I know I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners have too.
It's been my pleasure. I always enjoy talking about these things.
And to all our listeners out there, thank you for tuning into the Deep Dive. As always, be sure to do your research, consult with qualified professionals, and most importantly, listen to your body.